Now, Nancy.
I'm really excited to start off the new year reading a poem by a woman poet who I didn't learn about her until 1988. Her name is Amy Lowell, and she wrote in the early 1900s. So it's really exciting to know that women in the early 1900s were thinking more than about tea and crumpets, which is what we maybe like to believe. She didn't smoke cigars, contrary to popular belief. I'm also going to be cutting out a couple verses from the poem just to cut down on time. It's called Patterns by Amy Lowell. I walk down the garden paths, and all the daffodils are blowing, and the bright blue squills. I walk down the patterned garden paths in my stiff brocaded gown, with my powdered hair and jeweled fan. I, too, am a rare pattern as I wander down the garden paths. My dress is richly figured, and the train makes a pink and silver stain on the gravel and the thrift of the borders. Just a plate of current fashion, tripping by in high-heeled ribbon shoes, not a softness anywhere about me, only whalebone and brocade, and I sink on a seat in the shade of a lime tree, for my passion wars against the stiff brocade. The daffodils and squills flutter in the breeze as they please, and I weep, for the lime tree is in blossom, and one small flower has dropped upon my bosom. Underneath the fallen blossom in my bosom is a letter I have hid. It was brought to me this morning by a rider from the Duke. Madam, we regret to inform you that Lord Hartwell died in action Thursday night. As I read it in the white morning sunlight, the letters squirted like snakes. Any answer, madam, said my footman. No, I told him. See that the messenger takes some refreshment. No, no answer. And I walked into the garden, up and down the patterned paths, in my stiff correct brocade. The blue and yellow flowers stood up proudly in the sun, each one. I stood upright too, held rigid to the pattern by the stiffness of my gown. Up and down I walked, up and down. In a month he would have been my husband. In a month here, underneath this line, we would have broke the pattern, he for me and I for him. He as colonel, I as lady, on this shady seat. He had a whim that some might carry blessing, and I answered, it shall be as you have said. Now he is dead. In summer and in winter I shall walk up and down the patterned garden paths in my stiff brocaded gown. The squills and daffodils will give place to pillared roses and to asters and to snow. I shall go up and down in my gown, gorgeously arrayed, owned and stayed, and the softness of my body will be guarded from embrace by each button, hook, and lace. For the man who should loose me is dead, fighting with the Duke in Flanders, in a pattern called a war. Christ, what are patterns for?
Was Nancy Mindich?